In the midst of such a tense political environment between the US and the Soviet Union in the 1950s and 1960s, why were the cultural exchange agreements so important?
The cultural exchange agreements, which were discussed already as early as 1955 between both the United States and the Soviet Union, were initiated as a way to begin dialogue and to use cultural aspects of each country to inform one about the other, a kind of people-on-people communication, as Eisenhower mentioned. In the 1958 agreement, students and professors were included. There was also the interest in exchanging performers and performances, and especially there was an interest in exchanging films. These were all not only informative but also personal.
What were the main concerns of both the Soviet government and the U.S. Department of State about the making of co-produced films?
The concern really centered around finding a script in which both sides could represent each other in ways that were understandable and would also make a good film. The difficulty came from the fact not only to find a story in which there were shared values, but also the ways in which people would try to predict what kind of interpretation might be made of a film even before it was made.
What can the lessons from efforts at U.S.-Soviet co-production throughout the Cold War teach us about modern efforts of co-productions between China and the United States?
The first thing I would say is that people are still interested in doing co-productions as a way in which the market enlarges to encompass the interests and responses of both parties involved. I would say that the lessons suggest the difficulty and the dangers of trying to produce with a partner where there are different stakes and different values, even if there is an entertainment film which would seem relatively away from contemporary political concerns. What one sees is that there is always a politics in culture.
Great. Thank you, Professor Siefert.